Right there, welcome back to the channel. Manchester United have beaten Manchester City against all the odds. We've pulled up just one behind Arsenal now when it comes to the number of FA Cup wins in history. We're on 13, they're on 14. And obviously, we've got to do 5 things that we learnt about it in what's probably going to be a hectic week of trying to figure out what is going on and the shit show that's going to ensue without a statement from Ineos. So number 1. Ten Hag got it right. He got his tactics absolutely spot on, and it was complete tactical football that worked for us. And we saw 2 halves of it, or maybe about 60 minutes of it, and then 30 minutes of trying to hold on just a little bit. We had like a 4-2-4 mid-block sort of going on. We did make Vardiol try and defend. 2 things that we pushed on in the preview, actually, and we actually saw it. And we did talk about, if there's an opportunity to play Varane and Martinez, you got to do it. And they did it, and it was successful for us. I think that's been his best individual managerial performance at United. The one sort of overarching criticism I've had of Ten Hag is I've never seen this guy win off the back foot before. I've seen us go out and steamroll teams where we've had plan A, but I've never seen us be able to play off the back foot and go and get a result. And the Liverpool result was a little bit of a fluke. That was no fluke yesterday. It was a game plan, and it was worked, and it was perfectly clear. Going without a striker, going without the star striker you've spent a lot of money on, and going with like a 4-4-2 diamond or a 4-2-2 sort of formation where you've got your pace as your big outlet, pack the midfield just a little bit, have Bruno given this sort of free role, but 3 midfielders in behind him to sort of mop up and do the work. It was brilliant to see. And when you contrast that to the Gary Neville interview that he's had where he's like, I'll only ever play plan A because I don't want to teach them 2 ways of playing. Does that go out the window for cup finals when, you have to get it done and you have to get it won? I think so. And the players obviously responded to him. Well done. Absolutely well done. It was sensational work, that. Number 2, midfield masterclass. I thought Amrabat was amazing. He was relentless off the ball. He gives you a bit of security on the ball as well. Like, his passing's not the most technical passing. At times you go, there's a little bit behind someone. Not sure that was the best decision. But there's an energy and a tempo about the way he plays. And if it is Ten Hag sticking around, I'd sign him. If it's a new manager, then I guess a new manager's going to want his own ideas. But I'd sign him. I think Amrabat, for the low fee that has already sort of been pre-agreed, I think he's an excellent member to have in the squad. Because sometimes you're not going to... Sometimes you're the hammer. And if you're the hammer, then Amrabat can take a seat. And sometimes you're the nail. And if it's a game where you're the nail, Amrabat's probably the first name on the team sheet because he just digs out for you. 2 main, Mainu, unbelievable. Probably could have done a whole point on Mainu, but it might even just require a full video just talking about Mainu. He is going straight to the top. Man of the match, FA Cup final. And not out of any kind of sympathy, not out of any kind of nostalgia. Man of the match because he was the best player on the pitch against the best team in the world. What else can you say about him? Like, the composure is one thing, and it's all right having the composure when you've got the ball, and the way he glides around the pitch so unruffled at all times. But the composure to find yourself in the final third and be ready for a no-look pass off Bruno Fernandes, and to be able to use the correct technique, noticing where the keeper's going, have Kyle Walker just going at you, and put it away. Yeah, I'm almost out of adjectives to describe just how good this kid is going to be. What you've got to do is find the midfield partner that will play with him the best. But he has to be a factor in who you sign, because you can't just sign someone else. You have to go, how do they play with Mainu? Because he saved us 100 million. You can't tell me he's not a £100 million signing. He's not. You can't tell me he's not, because he is. He absolutely is. Bruno Fernandes might have cemented himself with being a bit of a Manchester United legend, actually, after that cup win yesterday. Any role, any system, he just performs. I saw a thread this morning, and I love the angled agendas. I saw two, actually. One on Haaland and how he just absolutely disappears in finals, and another one on the myth that is Kevin De Bruyne, showing, do you know what? Go and find it. It's a great thread. And how he just disappeared and put a 0 out of 10 performance. Bruno would be getting destroyed with that level of performance in a final. But he shows up, obviously he gets an assist. He was relentless, he played his position well. It doesn't matter what you want him to do, he does it. And Scott McTominay, again, I'm very critical of Scott McTominay's abilities on the ball. But when it comes to just, here's a specific job and I want you to do it, Scott McTominay does deliver that, and he delivered that. It worked tirelessly yesterday. United could have made 10 subs because there was that many people out on their feet. Number 3, Martinez changes everything. What a player. I think he is a force multiplier, and someone took umbrage with me saying that earlier in the season. And what does a force multiplier mean? Basically, it means, it's a military phrase, but essentially means that it's generally special forces going in embedded with regular units will be a force multiplier. They will be better and more effective because of this extra thing that they've got in the mix with them. And I see Lisandro Martinez the same sort of thing. He is a force multiplier. You put him into the United side, and he doesn't just perform the duties of one centre-back. He makes the defensive line better. He makes your attack better by the way he moves the ball forward. I think his mentality and his attitude and his aura, they add to it. His character is absolutely sensational. His mentality completely resonates and lifts. The team is 10% better when he's in it. He just refuses to be on the losing side. And people are like, well, was he not on the losing side when he was at Anfield? Yeah, he was. It happens. I can point to Roy Keane being on the losing side in some big games as well. Doesn't mean that what you're saying about him isn't true. He absolutely pocketed Haaland, and we did look shakier as soon as he came off. That could have just been the timing of, City have kind of gone for it, and we've started to sit back a little bit. I think he's one of the best centre-halves in the world. I think he's one of the best centre-halves in the league. I've been saying it since we signed him. Pep Guardiola came out and said it yesterday, so maybe some people will start seeing it now that actually Pep's come and said it. Number 4, the tradition of youth. 2 academy graduates with the goals. Carrington continues to produce the gems. Sky's the limit for Mainu, and Garnacho put in a real good performance yesterday as well. I have been critical of Garnacho. I think his decision making over the course of the season has left a little bit to be desired, but I thought in the final yesterday his decision making was bang on. He passed when he needed to, and he shot when he needed to, and he didn't overly shoot, didn't overplay it sometimes to get the shot, which he's done over the course of the season. He could and probably needs to now take the step to the next level where he starts putting in that level of performance on a more consistent basis. And even Marcus Rashford, who, he was in tears at the end of the game. It seems to, that could either be one of two things, and I don't think there's a third option here. It's either he's been through a lot this season, probably on and off the pitch, and he's just upset and happy at the same time, and he knows what he's had to come through. Obviously we don't. Or it was the end, and he's going to be moving on. And I sort of touched on this a little bit yesterday, both on Paddock and on here. I get the impression that Marcus has fell out with the fans a little bit, or has got a bit of an arm's reach with the fans where that didn't used to exist. And that's probably because some of the shit that he's had. And he's had some shit that's unwarranted. And I did see some stuff yesterday of people digging him out for crying and sort of questioning whether it was real or not. If that's your first gut instinct when someone does something, go fuck off, honestly. Just fuck off. So I'm leaning towards that. I think he's done. There's a lot of rumours locally that he will be on the move in the summer, and if he is, then he is. He's lived all of our dreams. He has been a great servant for United for almost a decade. And it's sad that it's ending like this. He should have been a player that retires here after winning multiple titles and multiple trophies, but he's had injuries that he's had to deal with. He's had ups and downs in form, weird ups and downs in form that sort of correlate with not having Luke Shaw at left back, which is very interesting. But I think that he's still a player. And a lot of people are absolutely fuming with him. They think his attitude stinks and this, that, and the other. I think he's had a rough time of stuff off the pitch. And that's not to say he's not the only one. There's other players that have had that. But I think there's a particular scrutiny on him. And there's possibly several reasons for that. But, it was in tears yesterday, and I think it was genuine. And, let's not forget, he is yet another, as is Scott McTominay, that came from the quarry of Carrington. That's what we do. And there was a handful of other lads yesterday that was in and around the team, in and around the bench, that are probably going to take it to the next level. Or be the next ones off the conveyor belt. Let's hope they can sort of do what the likes of Garnacho and Mainu and Rashford have done in the first team, because whether or not Rashford's been a Ballon d'Or level footballer, he's been an unmitigated success for the academy, and I won't have anybody say otherwise. And if he's not going to go, well, then the rest of not going to the Euros over the summer will do him the absolute world of good, because I think he's someone that's just played so much football, even through injuries, that he needs that rest. And number 5, Manchester is red, and this isn't just this isn't a current temperature check of the city. It annoys me when people go, "Oh, City have won a trophy, therefore Manchester's blue." No, Manchester is red is a state of Manchester. It isn't something that changes based on who wins the derby. Manchester is red is a statement of fact. There's about it's either 80-20 or 85-15 in terms of red to blue in the city. And if you think otherwise, you don't live in the city, you don't work in the city, you fucking don't know this city. Because that's just the reality of it. It is, right? When City lose, football wins. The Sheikhs could have overtook Wigan rather than Manchester City, and we'll be talking about Wigan doing what Manchester City are doing at the moment. Where they were while we were winning the treble on this day 25 years ago is who they are. And if it wasn't for the money thrown in by that crook Taskin Shinawatra or by Sheikh Mansour and their completely above board dealings that they've been doing for the last, 16 or so years, that's where they would be. I'm a United fan. I'm a 4th generation United fan. My great-granddad started watching this football club in 1933. And he took my granddad in 1950, who took my dad in 1965, who took me in 1990, and I took my son in 2007. Daughter's not been yet. I'm probably going to take her next season. I am proud of being a Manchester United fan, and I'm especially proud of us on days like that where we go and do it against the odds. And I did not believe we were going to do it. It wasn't the only reason I didn't go Wembley. There were several other reasons. One, namely, being how much I'm at home over the next 3.5 months. But I didn't believe we were going to do it. And they shocked me. And they continue to shock me. And even in our worst season in 30-something years, we're still able to come away with silverware and trophies and great memories that'll live forever. Some of them players might only win that FA Cup. Some fans that were there might have only ever seen us win that FA Cup. So, I love the FA Cup. I've always loved the FA Cup. I watched all of the build-up yesterday as well. And I wish they would make a real effort to do that. Because I do remember growing up and watching it and having it live on the coaches coming from the team hotels and, the managers walking out with a fucking bouquet of flowers on their suits and stuff like that. And the FA Cup should be treated as the biggest thing. Like, there's a playoff game at Wembley today. Just why? Why can you not just have one weekend where that's the most important fucking thing? I get that now the FA Cup takes place on at the same time as other fixtures because of the just increasing internationals and the increasing European participation by even more teams in the league now. English football has the oldest cup competition in the world. Fucking protect it and treat it like it. You know, it's the FA Cup, the Football Association. You guys run football in this country. You should be able to dictate to the fucking Premier League. Nah, this is what happens on these particular days. It should be 3 o'clock like it was yesterday. You know, I could even make the case for semi-finals being at neutral grounds because it's awesome. But I'll accept the fact that you've got to pay for this fucking stadium that you've built. So yeah, okay, the semi-finals, keep them at Wembley. But please, please, if you treat it like a big deal, it is a big deal. You know, you try winning a treble without an FA Cup. It don't work. And you ain't done it. You try winning a double without an FA Cup. And let's not forget, this was the first trophy Manchester United won post-Munich. This is the first trophy that Sir Alex Ferguson won with a football club. It's the oldest cup competition in the world. It's fucking sensational. You know, I want to put Paddock in there in a few years. You know, I need 3 promotions to do it. And I'll fucking do it. Because I fucking love that. That's the one goal I have with the football team is to play in the FA Cup, to have a programme with that fucking logo on and lead my team out for an FA Cup game. I fucking love the FA Cup. And I'm absolutely buzzing that we've done it. I'm 50-50 about being in Europa next year. Half of me could have just done with not being in. But it is what it is. Cheers for all the love, the comments, the likes, the subscriptions, everything over the last season. That's the official end of this season. I'm going to do a late night live tonight at 9 o'clock UK time. So if you want to come and join in, over on my Instagram, I'm asking the questions. So if you want to go and submit a question or a topic to talk about, head over there. We've got a hell of a busy summer in front of us. I'm away next week with the family. Then I'm in France for the 80th anniversary of D-Day for the first week of June. Then I'm back and forward quite a few times over the Euros. Then I'm on the tour with Paddock for United. So I'm going to blink and it'll be August and the season will be starting again. But there's probably about 100 videos to make in between. Dissecting the transfers, looking at the scout report rumours, reacting to what happens with Ten Hag. You know, I think a statement should have been made today, in all honesty. Either sack him today or put a statement out there saying that you're not sacking him today. I just think that you're going to now allow the press to build up a head of steam with the stuff that they started last week. It is what it is. And it has took the shine off the win because we've not just been able to just go completely bananas with it, but it is what it is. Anyway, like I said, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the support. Come join us on Late Night Live. I'll see you in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.